Hello everyone, welcome back to the weekly meditation challenge videos, and I wanted to get into our next mind training slogan. So these are the slogans by Atisha that help us cultivate our mind, allow us to relax into the day-to-day life, and really are focused on opening our hearts to others. So this particular slogan is translated as train your mind, practice the 5 strengths. So what are the 5 strengths? Sometimes these are actually referred to as 5 types of energizing factors, according to Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. These are factors that actually enable us to practice being open and compassionate. So there's an interesting equation here coming out of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition that says, compassion activity is actually a source of strength. It actually fortifies who we are in our basic inherent nature, our very basic inherent peace. So we're exerting ourselves on behalf of others. Previously we were focusing on slogans around patience, now it's more about exertion. So these 5 strengths. 1, determination. Determination, so this is actually referring to us setting an intention to actually be mindful and stick with it going forward. So when you wake up in the morning, you could actually just wake up and say, what's my intention for today? How do I actually want to apply my mindfulness and compassion? And then we follow through with determination. 2, familiarization. The second strength, familiarization. By practicing loving kindness and mindfulness very often, it actually becomes familiar territory. It's not as big a deal when we actually show up in the world and manifest our mindfulness and loving kindness. It just becomes a part of who you are. So it isn't something as much that you need to generate or do. It's just there. Because we're so familiar with that aspect of our practice, we're so familiar with manifesting it when we're not meditating. 3, virtue, or sometimes called the seeds of virtue. This is committing to being of benefit to yourself and others constantly, just throughout the day. The wonderful Tibetan Buddhist teacher Trungpa Rinpoche once said, quote, "We do what is good, meaningful, and wholesome in our physical actions," unquote. That's it. So things that are good, meaningful, and wholesome. That's what we're talking about when we talk about virtue. And we do this through our physical actions, our speech, how we hold our mind, and how we are generally present for others. So the idea of virtue in addition to determination and familiarization. 4, this is reproach or remorse. This is the idea that we're giving up some of our egoic mistakes. And really, we're giving up the ego altogether. It's the idea that we treasure our own opinions and ideas of ourselves way too much. So what we're saying is you are able to just get out of your own way a little bit. The wonderful teacher Judy Leaf said, quote, "You recognize that it's your fascination with yourself or your ego fixation that causes you so much suffering and keeps you from developing loving kindness and compassion. You don't try to pretend otherwise. You're willing to reproach the ego and are determined to tame it and undermine its power," unquote. So we're just taming the ego here. We're reproaching the ego and undermining how that can sort of take over our mind at times. And then the 5th strength is aspiration, the idea that we would aspire to attain complete awakening and to cultivate loving kindness and compassion in order to be of benefit to all beings. So again, determination, familiarization, virtue, reproach, aspiration. To summarize, what we're doing here is we're transforming our behavior throughout the day into virtuous behavior by employing these powers. We're living a life that we feel really good about as a result. So the challenge this week is when you wake up to actually set that intention. First thing when you wake up, how am I going to actually be mindful? How am I going to be compassionate today? What does that look like? Set the intention and then try to stick with it. And the more that we actually engage this, the more familiarization we have, the more natural it becomes, the more virtuous we actually are able to be throughout the day, the more we actually are able to just be there for others instead of only thinking about me, me, me. We actually have a sense of reproach for the ego, and the more we're able to actually move toward complete awakening, which is a true aspiration that we could all hold in our hearts. So good luck. Really looking forward to hearing how this one goes, and I'll talk to you very soon. Cheers.